Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to another, discussion video. I don't really do these unscripted rant videos too often, but, basically what happened is in the new update of Sonic Frontiers, the entire story script, or at least most of it, from Update 3 got leaked, along with other things, so I'm going to be going over that in this video. So yeah, huge freaking spoiler warning. If you don't want to see anything about Update 3 and what it's going to add, then by all means do not watch this video, because I'm going to be basically spoiling all of it in this video. But for those who are interested in what it holds, then keep watching. But yeah, so I have the whole script here. I'm not going to be showing the script. I'm not going to be reading the script. Because apparently Sega has been going around taking it down everywhere, so I don't want to be a part of that. I'm just going to discuss some main takeaways I see from this script, and yeah, we're just going to talk about it. So there's 28 script files here, and I guess a lot of it is changing the very end of the game. Now, I'm not talking about the final boss only, that's a part of it, but I'm just talking about the whole final act of the game from Rhea Island onward. For one, it looks like Rhea Island is still going to have the 6 towers, as that was mentioned by one of the characters in this new update. That's still happening. However, Sonic's cyber corruption doesn't just go away. Well, it does go away, but Sage is like, hey, I can bring it back for you, and your friends can go collect the Chaos Emeralds. So I'm assuming what happens, instead of Tails, Knuckles, and Amy just going into cyberspace to save his corruption, Sage is just like, yo, wait, don't do that yet. I can put your cyber corruption on hold temporarily and we can do this stuff. So what happens, I guess, is Aranos Island is going to be completely different. This was also mentioned by Kishimoto in an interview, that he wanted to revamp Aranos Island, because as we know, in the original Frontiers, the first build of the game, Kronos Island was Aranos, Kronos, and Rhea all glued together in this massive island. That's what Kronos Island was originally supposed to be. But due to time constraints, they had to split it into 3 islands to fill up the end of the game, which there was supposed to be a completely different 4th island originally. So, since Aranos is going to be completely different in this next update, does that mean that Kronos will be as big as it originally was supposed to be? I think that would be really cool, and since they're already changing up so much more about the story and just the pacing of the game, I think it's possible. I mean, they added a whole new game plus feature for a reason in the last update. Maybe they want you to play the new version of the game with everything redone. And if I remember correctly, playtesters of the original game way back in those 4chan leak days of the early Frontiers Rangers leaks, people were discussing that there was a temple in the sky called Ancient's Temple, World Temple, something like that, that Sonic and Sage would go up to later in the game. I wonder if they're replacing Aranos Island with the temple. That would be pretty cool, especially considering that Aranos Island would also be back where it was originally supposed to be in Kronos Island. I think that would be a cool idea. And there's also more proof to this, because after Sage puts Sonic's cyber corruption on hold, it seems that Amy, Knuckles, and Tails go to collect the Chaos Emeralds on the new island, kind of like how it is in Aranos, where you go through cyberspace, get the vault keys, all that good stuff. It seems that that whole part of the game is going to be done by Tails, Knuckles, and Amy this time around. And Sonic and Sage go to the temple to start the trials now. So while Sonic is going to take on the trials of the pilots in order to, well, as Sage says, change his cyber corruption into power, which we'll get into that later, Knuckles, Tails, and Amy, you play as them on the new and improved island that you get all the Chaos Emeralds, all that good stuff. I really like, because by this point of the game, the whole getting the cyberspace portals, getting the Chaos Emeralds, all that stuff was getting kind of repetitive. But since Kronos Island is going to be much bigger in this update of the game, it would make sense for the 4th time you're doing all this to be with different characters, just kind of spice it up a little bit. And so the Trials of the Pilots is where Sonic and Sage go to, and I'm guessing this is in space in the temple or whatever, but these are the pilots of the Titans, the characters we see in the cutscenes multiple times. So it looks like that you have to fight each of the pilots, but it looks like it's just refights of the 3 Titans, from before, possibly with more health or something like that. It just looks like you're refighting the Titans you already fought in the game. You first fight Giganto, and then the pilot gives some sort of monologue like, I loved my people, something, 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 you gutted my Titan, yada, yada, yada. Says stuff like that. Then you defeat Giganto, then you go on to fight Wyvern again. He says, like, I was one of the greatest warriors, yada yada yada. You get kind of a backstory of all the pilots of the Titans. Of course, you then go on to refight Knight, and then that trial is complete. And then, finally, this is where you fight Supreme now. And I'm assuming they're going to change up Supreme to make him less like Giganto, but instead of Supreme being a final boss, it's more like an Egg Dragoon type of situation in Sonic Unleashed, where it's like, it's a big boss, but it's like the calm before the storm, if you know what I'm saying. So this is where Sonic is like, oh, there's a surprise 4th Titan, so that's changing it from Supreme being the final boss on Aranos Island to Sonic just fighting Supreme as a part of these trials. And I like that. It makes Supreme kind of like a surprise for people who haven't played the game yet. Oh, there's a 4th Titan after all. I get to fight it now. It's cool. So once you defeat all the trials, Sonic's cyber corruption just kind of goes away, it looks like. And this is when the end starts to like talk to Sonic, and then Sonic's like, okay, we gotta hurry up. And then next up, it seems like the end is corrupting a lot of things on the island, including the Coco and all of that. Then Sonic's kind of like, hey guys, I need you here. You can't just quit now. So it looks like the end, the final threat, is kind of like how Dark Gaia kind of turned the world purple in Sonic Unleashed, except the end is corrupting the whole islands with the cyber corruption kind of thing. And it looks like this triggers sort of another event where you play as Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, kind of like an end of the world situation, I guess. So then Sage and Sonic go to find the other, go to find the one that can change Sonic's cyber corruption into power. This guy is called Master King from the looks of things here. And then Sonic talks to him like, hey, you can turn my cyber corruption into power. And then he was, apparently this Master King guy was like the leader of his people, and he did everything with cyberspace, and he built the Titans and all of that good stuff. So then it jumps to another script where it looks like Sonic is just... I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of gameplay segment in between these scripts, because all of a sudden Sonic's just like, ooh, I have the power now, I can feel it. And so then he goes back to Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, and he's all like, okay guys, I have my power now. And then the final battle happens, and it looks like this is where Sonic is the new Cyber Sonic form now, which I was really hoping was going to be in the original game, but it looks like they're finally implementing it here. So yeah, Cyber Sonic is real. He's going to be in this update, super exciting, and also the end is not going to be a stupid minigame anymore. In fact, it's going to be an actual boss fight. So Tails is kind of like, oh wait, there it is, that's the force that wiped up the Ancients. So this is the final battle of the game. Sonic defeats the end, and I'm guessing the cutscene is just different, because it looks like Sage doesn't sacrifice herself here. Sonic ends up defeating the end with his cyber-corrupted power, and Sage is just like, okay, we can go home now, and Eggman is like, yeah, we could go home. So it looks like Sage doesn't die anymore. It looks like the complete final act of the game, and possibly Kronos, is going to be reunited, so Kronos is going to be much bigger, and instead of Aranos Island at the end, we're going to have a completely different island / temple in space, whatever. It's going to be completely different. And instead of Supreme being the final boss, you fight him at the end of a boss rush with all the Titans. And of course, the biggest one for me at least is that the end is going to be an actual boss fight that you fight as Cyber Sonic. So that's really exciting stuff. It seems that they're taking a lot of the criticism of how Frontiers was rushed and unfinished, and they're taking that and fixing it, literally all of it, making Kronos as big as it originally was, along with fixing the final boss of the game and just the whole final act of the game. It'll make this game feel complete, and I honestly just can't wait for this. I also think that it's really cool how, in this scenario, the characters, the extra playable characters, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, actually serve purpose of collecting the Chaos Emeralds for Sonic, which again, that adds more variation to the gameplay. And honestly, like I said before, when the game first came out, I didn't think they were going to do all of this. As much as I wanted them to fix all of this stuff, I didn't think it was possible, because they would have to change so much up about the game. But it looks like they didn't care, and they're actually fixing pretty much all of it. Of course, the main thing to me is not necessarily the new playable characters, but the fact that every island is going to be the same size and is going to feel unique from one another. That's just really cool to me how they're doing all of that stuff for free. Now, this does bring up a few questions, like what will happen to my progress when they fix the entire game? For me, at least, I just 100%ed the game, and I'm assuming what's going to happen is that if you have a 100% save file, it's just going to carry over and all of your collectibles and stuff will save. I'm also guessing that all of the Aranos collectibles will still be there, it's just it's going to be on a different island this time, so. And as for Rhea Island, I'm assuming Rhea Island is just not going to be a thing anymore, but instead you go back to Kronos Island later in the game. as Kronos Island would be completely reunited like I mentioned before. So even though they're fixing pretty much everything about the game, I still think Rhea Island is going to be the crucial moment for most of the story, especially considering that that's when it's like, okay, Sonic, you can use your cyber corruption as power, you don't have to, your friends don't have to get rid of it for you. Although it's kind of weird to me how Sonic, all of his friends are like, okay, we can get rid of your corruption, and then Sage just comes back like, wait, never mind, they didn't have to do that, you can use it for something better. But hey, if it means we get a new form for Sonic, then I'm all for it. But yeah, guys, I'm really excited for this update, so I just wanted to make this short little discussion video discussing the leaks. Sorry if I started a lot, this was unscripted, of course, and sorry if I repeated a lot of points. But yeah, if you like this kind of video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.